All right, there you go. Reading still apparent. Down 400 for the Dow, down nearly, well, 270 on the NASDAQ. Keith Fitz joins me now. Keith, this reminds me of the 1970s. I was there. I don't know about you, but I was there. Strong inflation, easy money, foreign pressure. It did not end well, did it?
No, it did not, and I remember that too. There are a lot of market participants who today have never lived through that and don't understand their history. If you recall, Stuart, and I'm sure you do, inflation began at about 2% in the late 60s, was 12% by the mid-70s, finished at about 14.5% in the 80s. We had easy monetary policy. We had over-responsive government. And not coincidentally, we had the Soviets going into Afghanistan in 1979. So flip all that around, here we are today.
So the response in the 1980s was the Federal Reserve jacked up interest rates dramatically and quickly, and you had an awful recession. I mean, could the same thing happen again?
I do think that that's the case. I don't know how much intestinal fortitude Chairman Powell has to make that move, but I would argue at this point he's let the cat out of the bag. He can't put the genie back in the bottle, to use both expressions. So I don't know what he's going to do, frankly.
But if that's your outlook, you sure you're not buying stocks these days, are you?
Actually, I am. I'm not going to buy anything in a hurry. I'm going to split my tactics up. I'm going to buy a little at a time, so I'm going to slow it down. But the other thing that's characterized by the 80s is a rapid climb out of that. It led into one of the most prolific bull markets we've seen in a long time. So anybody who is not identifying companies that are going to be here in 5 or 10 years, I think is doing themselves a disservice. Now, it's one thing if you need the money in the next year or two, but 3 to 5 years out, 10 years out, the odds are dramatically in favor of buying, even if there's more selling today.
Now, we're still talking in terms of interest rates and inflation as really hurting the market. But war talk, and there's a lot of it about this morning, that's not helping, is it?
No, it's not. And as a matter of fact, I think that that is the single overriding concern. I don't think the Fed matters. I don't think earnings from Microsoft, Apple, Tesla, they can put multi-billion-dollar growth paths in front of them, and I don't think it's going to come off the gas.
Why don't I see gold going straight up? I mean, that's what you would expect when you got talk of war. What's the hedge against war talk?
You know, I think the hedge against that is going to be great companies making stuff. That's going to be companies like Chevron, for example, which is tied into oil markets. That's going to be companies like General Mills, for example, which is tied into food. That's going to be companies that are away from any of the speculative, aspirational choices. They're going to be companies that make money, Stuart.
Okay, Apple, Microsoft, Tesla. Kind of the big three, or three of the big five, what do you want to call it. They report this week. Their numbers come out this week. Could they put a floor under the market if those numbers are real good?
Yes, they could. The one you want to watch is Apple, because it is the biggest, well-capitalized, most liquid company in the world, which means every bank, every hedge fund, every endowment of size owns, trades, or hedges Apple. So when the selling stops on Apple, that's your go sign that, in fact, there's going to be a floor under the market.
Yeah, but you don't know when when the selling stops, do you? You just don't know these things.
No, you don't, unfortunately.
Apple's right now pre-market 160. The high was 182. Microsoft pre-market 292. The high was 349. Is that a buying opportunity? Last word to you.
I think so. There's no question in my mind. Again, I'm playing to a 3 to 5 year horizon, even a 10-year horizon. You're talking a 92 and something percent probability of a higher close. So if that's your horizon, mine is. I'm going for it.
All right, Keith, thanks very much for being with us on a difficult morning. We always appreciate it. And here we go. We're off.
Hi, it's Keith here. Thanks for checking out today's highlight clip. What'd you think? Did I make sense? Is there something you'd like to add? Make sure you leave a comment down below, and of course, click subscribe to keep up right here on YouTube, or sign up for the email newsletter at the link below. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram for my real-time thoughts on markets, analysis, and a whole lot more.